Hi, welcome to Karolyi Core. You're going to need a yoga block and something to cushion your knee for this session. We're going to start lying down on your mat, just finding the breath, reaching the arms overhead in a nice total body stretch, and just taking that inhale, nice long exhale. Reaching arms up to the ceiling, we'll bend the knees and open the arms out to the side, reaching them back up again. Inhale to open and exhale to reach up. And now just one arm in the opposite knee. Bring it back to the center. And then the other arm in the opposite knee. A little bit of coordination again. One arm in the opposite knee opening. And finally the other arm the opposite knee. Come back to center and try both arms, both knees at the same time, opening. And one more time, inhale to open and exhale to reach back up to the ceiling. And let's just move those arms in some nice circles, reaching overhead. Keeping the spine nice and neutral, the legs still. And then we'll bring those legs up to tabletop. And we'll reverse the arm circles the other way. Nice big inhales and long exhales. Trying to keep those tabletop legs really still. And let's stretch the legs up to the ceiling, bend the knees, bring the arms down. As the legs reach up, the arms stretch overhead. Legs up, arms overhead. We'll add some footwork, flexing the feet up, pointing the toes on the way down. A few more times, reaching up and overhead, legs long. And let's reach the arms and legs up to the ceiling and start to circle wrists and ankles in our dead bug pose. And we'll take about 4 circles each direction. And bringing the hand just on top of one knee, we're going to lower and lift the opposite leg with a little bit of footwork, pointing on the way down, flexing on the way up. And just picking up the tempo a little bit quicker. And we'll bring the hands now behind the head and we'll add a little bit of flexion. As the leg lifts up to the ceiling, we'll curl up towards that leg, exhaling as we do so. We'll stay here at the top this time and start to twist towards that bent knee as the opposite leg lowers. Exhale to twist. And we'll pause here for just a brief moment and then we'll take it into that crisscross, side to side, alternating the legs, keeping the chest nice and open. Come back to the center and just hold for a moment. Contract those abs and keep that nice stable tabletop position. Let's switch legs, pulling the other leg in. The opposite leg stretches up to the ceiling and lowers down. The footwork flexing to lower, pointing to lift. And a little bit faster now, keeping that form and the breath. Shoulders relaxed. And then we'll add the flexion. And we'll curl up as that leg lifts. Exhale to curl up. We'll stay here at the top this time and we'll add the twist towards the bent knee. Exhale and twist with a nice long collarbone as we twist. And then we'll take it into that crisscross, side to side. Really stretching that straight leg nice and long and lightly pointing the toes. Now come back to center and just hold that curl as you deepen your abs. Exhale, maybe curl up a little bit more and then release to the side. Opening the arms out into a T shape, let's start to twist the legs now side to side. Now the next time you twist the legs to the side, reach that top leg nice and long and circle it over to the opposite side. Drop knees and top leg reaches and circles to the opposite side. And pointing the toes, letting the hips rock from side to side. And then just take it back to those knee twists, dropping the knees and looking in the opposite direction and twist. Twist, reach the arms open nice and wide, and then come right back to center. And start to lift one knee and the opposite arm up to the ceiling. And then finally, keeping both arms up to the ceiling, exhale and lift both legs away from the floor. Like little toe taps without the toes actually touching down. Try to really work to keep that pelvis neutral so it's not moving or shifting around. And as an extra challenge, you can start to reach the arms overhead. Try not to arch the back. And then reach both arms up to the ceiling, both legs up to the ceiling. You're slowly dropping one leg down to the floor, Bring it back up and exhale, the second leg lowers. And you can start to add the opposite arm reaching overhead for that extra challenge. So the top arm and the top leg have to stay nice and still. And then finally, we'll just start to alternate into our super scissors and pulling the head away from the floor and breathing. You can also bring the hands behind the head if you prefer that option. A little bit more neck support. And finally, bring the legs back into that tabletop position. And again, hold, deepening abdominals. And release down. Pull those knees in and just rock it out side to side. And then holding underneath the legs, let's rock on the spine forward and back, rolling like a ball. Keep shoulders down. Try to keep that rounded C curve in the spine. We'll try this one more time. And then let's stay here at the top, holding the balance, focusing as we lift the legs up to tabletop and stretching the arms forward. And if you can, why not try straightening the legs into that V-sit and then rolling with control away from those legs, nice and slowly to the floor. Arms lower, then the legs, then the head. And then we'll bend those knees into our bridge sequence. We're gonna lift the hips up. Inhale down, exhale, hips lift. Inhale down, a few more times. Let the palms press, backs of shoulders drop. And then we'll stay here at the top, keeping the hips nice and still. Popping one heel from the floor, let's start to pedal through the feet. About 8 times, 4 times each side. We'll end with one heel down and the opposite heel lifted. And we'll start little pulses here with our different foot position, about 3 of them. And then that heel that's lifted, take the leg up to tabletop and try 3 more pulses. And then take that tabletop leg and stretch it up to the ceiling, flex the foot and try 3 more pulses. And then stay here at the top and try reaching both arms up. Very slow motion, pointing the top foot and lowering the leg all the way back to the floor and lower the arms and hips. Good. And let's take those hips up again and start the pedaling motion in the feet, really accentuating the arches in the feet. This time we're going to stop with that other heel lifted and we'll try those 3 pulses. And the heel that's lifted, that leg is now going to float up to tabletop. Hips nice and still. Let's try those 3 pulses now. And then keep the hips nice and still and stretch that leg up to the ceiling. The foot is flexed and 3 more pulses. And hips staying still at the top. We'll float the arms up for that breath as we point the top toes and lower the foot back down to the ground, and hips and arms lowering. Good, pull those legs in, but this time take the knees wider. Reach down for the feet or the ankles or the shins into your butterfly. And drop the feet down in that butterfly pose as the arms reach overhead. Stretch out the legs and let's try a nice controlled roll up, pulling the abs in, sitting up nice and tall at the top with flexed feet and folding over those legs. Good, moving on, roll on up and just swing the legs behind you. We'll switch our position now into hands and knees. So my variation on cat, we're gonna round the spine and then just sit it back towards the heels. From here, start to arch the back as we look forward and lean a bit over those hands, rounding to sit back with your exhale. And then arching forward, looking upwards. And one more time, rounding back. And extending the spine, lifting the chest, looking up. Great, come right back to hands and knees. And let's take it into a plank here. Tighten the tummy. And a few push-ups. I'm only doing half push-ups, so don't feel like you need to take this all the way down to the floor. However, if you can, we will lower the last one all the way down. So we're in a prone position on our stomach, and we'll separate the legs to the back corners of the mat, and then we'll swan up, lifting the chest and lower it down. Now try to keep those shoulders in place so they don't start to shrug. Adding a little bit of rotation as we look over one shoulder, that same foot will lift away from the floor as we lower, and then the opposite side. So at the top, we look over at the foot, and then that same foot lifts as we lower down with the chest. And let's keep the feet down. This time we'll just lift up with the chest and exhale, both legs lifting as we lower the chest, almost like a very controlled rocking horse motion. Inhaling up and exhaling to lower. And let's stay here, of course. Let's click the heels nice and slow and controlled. Tighten the tummy. And if you can, you're just going to lift the hands from the floor now, just so that the forehead rests lightly on top of the back of the hands. Some more heel clicks. And let's pick up the pace, the tempo in those heel clicks, trying to keep nice and still across the torso. This is a tough one. And then pull those fingertips nice and long, reaching back behind you, and then open them up into a nice T, sweeping them forward. Some nice back strength work here, and then good job, lower it down. Bend at the knees and just rock it out side to side. Give that low back a little bit of relief. And back to the center now. We'll prop ourselves up onto the elbows, and we'll just take a nice gentle neck stretch, dropping the ear over to one shoulder and then to the other shoulder. And try not to force this one. Just a nice, slow, steady motion across the neck. Now bring the head back to the center. We'll look down between the hands. We'll start to lift the abs and the hips and come right up into that full elbow plank. And from here, you're going to tighten the tummy and pike the hips up and back. And then bring it back down into plank. A few more times. Legs straight. Abs lift as the hips lift. We'll try that one more time. And we'll drop both knees down to the floor and press back into that shell shape, just sitting back into the heels. Let's get into our side body a little bit, walking the hands over to one side. Stay for that breath. Let the head drop. Walking it over to the second side, forehead down, breath in. Bring the hands back to the center. Now coming all the way through a hands and knees position. If you need that cushioning for the knee, now's the time. We're gonna get that in place, and you might want to set up your block. So you're going to bring one foot forward and find yourself in a nice low lunge here. Check the knee on top of the ankle and bring the arms away from the floor. Give me one shoulder roll and then reach those arms up to the ceiling, bringing your body into a bit of a back bend. You're going to look up to the ceiling here. And now you're going to bring one hand behind the head and the opposite arm drops down to that block, bringing you into a deeper back bend. Use that top hand to support the head and neck as you look up, and then reach both arms up and lowering them down to the floor. Let's curl the back toes into the mat, and we straighten that back leg and just place our block right up beside our front foot. And reach that opposite arm behind you, looking at it as we straighten the front leg. We're going to reach that arm up to the ceiling. And bending the front knee to lower the arm down and straightening the front leg to reach the arm up. And this last time, we'll just hold here and breathe, stacking shoulders, squeezing inner thighs, twisting torso, looking up to the ceiling if you can. Look down to the floor and bring that top arm down and bending the front leg. Good, let's start to sit back towards the heel as we straighten the front leg, shifting our weight back, coming back forward into that lunge, but 4 times like this. And the last time, we're going to stay back here, hips back over the heels, and we'll start to walk the hands about halfway back. And then we're going to straighten the arms as we point the toe, and then bend the elbows as we flex. So we'll call this our fingertip push-up with some footwork, really getting into the hamstring. Try to keep the spine neutral. A lot of people over round the back here. And let's hold. You can place the palms flat on the ground. Nice big inhale. Nice long exhale. And both hands coming over to that one side as we bring the legs back into our shell shape or child's pose. Just stay for a nice breath here. And then side 2. Set up your knee cushion as you need it and your block on the opposite side. And come into that low lunge. Check the position of the knee, reach the chest forward, and then come up a little bit higher, dropping arms down. Let's roll the shoulders back and then reach the arms up to the ceiling, looking up to the ceiling. Now you're going to split the arms. One hand comes behind the head, the other one reaches down for that block. Let your body bend back even more if you have that flexibility. Make sure you're breathing. Both arms up, and then they circle down to the floor, curling the back toes, coming right up into that higher lunge now, and just switching the block right beside the front foot. Start to reach that arm behind you, looking at the arm, and as we straighten the front leg, we're going to reach that arm up to the ceiling. And then bending the front knee and reaching the arm back again. Good, and let that hand on the block really press down as you reach up. And let's hold this last one, staying here. Maybe both legs are straight, maybe both arms are straight, looking up, twisting torso, you can do it. Good, and we'll bring it right back down to the floor, bending that front knee. Good job. Okay, and then let's start to shift our weight back over the heel. And bending that front knee, a little bit of forward and back motion, sitting back and low lunging forward about 4 times. The last one, we're going to stay here at the back. Maybe that front leg can be straight. You'll walk the hands back about halfway. And then we'll straighten the arms as we point the toe and flex the foot as we bend the elbows. Our fingertip push up here with some footwork. Really try to pull that tailbone back. And really try to work for that neutral spine. I know it's so hard, the spine wants to round here as those hamstrings are tight. So hold here, maybe place the palms flat onto the floor, let the chest drop and find the breath again. Both hands on one side, we'll bring that leg back and we'll sit back to the heels. And just pause for a breath. And coming up into a plank position. From this plank, arms and legs nice and straight, and then we'll take one knee and we'll bend it and twist it across the body to the opposite side, activating our side body. Let's add here. So we'll bend it across, we'll lift it up behind you for a few pulses and return to plank. That knee twists across, it pulses a few times behind you and back to plank. And one more time each side, nice, strong, still shoulders. And then come right back to your plank position. Little push up here. You can do it, maybe just halfway down or even less. Push-ups are tough and challenging. So let's pike back now into our downward dog and then bring it back forward into your plank. And piking back into down dog, arms and legs straight if you can. This time, if you like, come back to your plank and give me a push-up. And then pike it up and back, down dog. Forward to your plank, perhaps a push-up. And piking it back. Let's stay here in your down dog and just start to walk the dog, as they say, bending one knee then the other, kind of pedaling through those feet again. And then straightening the legs and really reaching the heels down as you press the arms as long as you can. Lift the tailbone high and breathe. Looking forward. Coming back into that plank position. And then drop the knees nice and wide on the mat. Sit back to your heels. Stretch the arms forward in a child's pose. Rolling up through the spine. Take a seat on the mat now. Cross-leg position or whatever position you find comfortable. We'll just do a little bit of side bending here, reaching the arm over to the side and then just twisting your torso. Bring it back through the center to the other side. So a side bend meets a twist. Back to the side bend and through the center. And again, side bend. This time you can scoop the arm underneath as you twist. Open it to the side and through the center. Last time, side bend. And scoop that top arm under as you twist. And back to the center. Stay here for some breathing. Reach the arms up with your inhale and exhale. Just keep the shoulders in place. As the arms lift, the shoulders stabilize. They do not shrug. One more time. And then position yourself on your mat so you have some space behind you now. Stretch the arms, knees are bent, and take that nice, slow, controlled roll down. Try to feel the spine meeting the mat, each vertebrae of the way down. Good, arms overhead. Here we are, back where we started. Full circle in our total body stretch. Feel the length in the spine, the energy in the body, and bring the arms down by the side. Just turning the palms up. Close the eyes. Nice and still. Sometimes this is the hardest part, where just the breath is moving. Not even the thoughts are moving. Just stay with that breath for as long as you need to. Maybe 5 nice deep inhales followed by 5 nice long exhales. If you have more time, spend more time. But try to find that moment of calm, still. Let it go. Good job. See you next time.